Hey, scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a 9x12 process video, and this is technically a hybrid process video. I have my Swoon collection here that I have printed out. I printed out the entire collection because I do that to record my unboxing videos. So I have all of that collection here. This is my digital collection. That is printed on Epson premium presentation paper at photo quality. I always get that question, so I'm putting it in the video. And I have an Epson Artisan printer. Any good quality photo printer will do this just fine. It's all about the paper you print on, not necessarily the printer that you use. So I've pulled out all of the die cuts here, and I'm using this 4x6 card that I designed that says, "I love you, always, forever, near and far, closer together." And I designed that card specifically for Finn because I taught him the lyrics of that old song. He says, "I love you" a lot. He's a really lovey-dovey kid. He says, "I love you," probably 4 or 5 times a day when he's at school, and then all day, every day when he's at home. So I taught him the lyrics of that song. And now every time he tells me he loves me, which is multiple times a day, he sings the song. So it's sort of, it's our thing. So I have these photos of Finn and I with the lyrics of that song. And I'm showing you a bit how to use the collection as is, as it comes, rather than doing things in Photoshop. So all of my collections come on printable sheets. You don't have to have a photo editing program to use them. The papers you can print at 8.5 by 11 or 12 by 12 if you have a 12 by 12 printer. But I also sell Traveler's notebook sized papers, which are 8.5 by 4.5 or 4.25, I think. And they come on printable PDF sheets, so you just have to open them up on your computer and hit print, and they are good to go. So that is how I printed these. The journaling cards also come on printable sheets, and so do the stickers, and you can fussy cut them out, or you can send them through your Silhouette program and have the Silhouette cut them out. But this is what it looks like when you've just printed them straight from the PDF files. So I am using the Traveler's Notebook size papers to do a 9x12 layout. And obviously none of the papers are 9x12. They're not 9 inches. They're not 12 inches. So I am going to get creative here. I could do paper strips. I could do paper blocks. I could do squares. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to use these heart punches, and I'm going to cut out a bunch of hearts from a few different papers to sort of scatter all over my paper. And of course I have pulled out a white piece of cardstock to use as the background of this layout. So I'm just sort of orienting these photos and this journaling card so that they will fit on the page. The journaling card is obviously a 4x6, which there are so many lyrics that I included that it had to be a 4x6, but because it's a 4x6 and I'm using 2 photos, it's kind of a large, bulky cluster, which is kind of why I decided to pull in hearts for my pattern paper rather than paper strips. That way I could leave a lot of white space going on and not have too much pattern. You know I love pattern. I'm a bright, colorful scrapbooker. There's nothing that will keep me from my patterned papers, but in this instance I did want there to be some breathing room, especially since these colors are so bright and vivid. I wanted to make sure that there was a lot of white space left over. So I'm messing with these die cuts and trying to decide what I want to include, but I'm going to instead, in a second here, I'm going to start cutting out the hearts because I decided that I needed to situate the background before I can really decide what die cuts I'm going to use, because I need to know how busy it's going to look, right? So I'm going to cut out 3 hearts from each of these 4 pattern papers that I've decided to use. 1 large one and 2 small ones. So I decided to go with that plaid because I love it. And I'm going to go with this black polka dot line. And I'm trying to make sure that the pattern stays oriented correctly for all the hearts. So I want it to be like a horizontal stripe across that black. And I want the gingham to be somewhat straight and not diagonal, although I do cut that big one a little bit wonky, so it's a little diagonal. And then I'm going to do this pink paper. I decided I needed 2 light papers to go to offset that big gradient card and also the wildness of the plaid and the darkness of the black. So I've got 2 lighter color sets of hearts. Now, when I am putting these down, I am trying to make sure that I have, well, first I'm going to make it so that there are 4 clusters, each designed around a specific large heart. And then when I start placing the little hearts, I want to make sure that there are no lines of the same pattern. There's no spots of the same pattern clustered together. Those black ones obviously make the most impact, so I'm trying to make sure that they are separated and there's no like vertical line. Just trying to make sure that everything, that the spots of patterns are appropriately distributed throughout the whole layout. So now I've realized that I've backed myself into a corner with this, this gingham one, and so I'm trying to situate them all right. So I'm thinking right now that this is about good. Just a couple of little changes here and there, and then I'm going to glue it all down. And I, of course, will spare you the whole gluing process since everything ends up pretty much where I left it before. So now I've got all of these hearts situated where I want them to be, and I can start adding in the die cuts that I want to include. So obviously I have a huge block of words here, so I don't need to add too many word strips or things of that nature, because too many words it just can be overflow. You know, if you're saying too many things, it's too much, obviously. So first I decide that I want to incorporate these flowers, and while they will work, once I get them all sort of situated on the page, like in the clusters and things, it's just overwhelming and too much. So I decide, you'll see me put them on and then I'll just take them all back off again. I know these are the 2 word bits beyond the card that I want to include. And I also need to make sure that I have somewhere to journal. So you can see me incorporating the flowers, and they look fine. I could have left them and they would have been pretty, but I decided it was just too much overwhelm for what I wanted on this page. Besides, if I keep the flowers off the page, I have flowers without having to print again for the next page I want to do with this. And I'm going to create a companion page to this one using the same collection, and it's going to be a pocket page with a bunch of selfies of me. So I'll need flowers for that one. I'm going to incorporate all these little hearts that came on the printable sheets. I kind of think of them as like enamel hearts, even though they are obviously die cuts. So I don't use anything on this page that is not a part of this collection. And I thought initially that I was going to incorporate maybe some puffy hearts or something like that. But once I get to the end of this page, when I'm done, I actually really like it with just the die cuts and in the way that it is. I thought maybe it would be too flat, but I think all of the pattern going on and all the beautiful color really makes this page super dynamic and not too flat. But if it is too flat for you, you could definitely add in some wood veneer or some puffy stickers or some other embellishments from your stash. Obviously, I can't create printable puffy stickers. I can only create printable regular stickers. So often when I am hybrid scrapbooking, I will incorporate in embellishments to add a little bit of dimension too. That's part of the fun of hybrid scrapbooking, is incorporating stuff from your stash in with your printed product to create a cohesive page. But luckily I didn't have to do that with this page. I thought it looked really great without it. So I'm just trying to make this XOXO work. I want to incorporate in some embellishments that are not just hearts. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now, is adding some non-hearts to the clusters. I'm going to use this little label and its matching purple one down at the bottom for my journaling. Of course, I could write directly on the white cardstock, but I like having like a little label to make my journaling like have a home rather than writing on the background paper. It's what I prefer to do. So that's what I'm doing here. Decided I would need 2 journaling spots to tell this story, and luckily I have 2 of these adorable labels that match. The hearts are on different sides of the labels, so they couldn't really go in the same place and show off the hearts. So I like this orientation here where they end up in 2 different spots. It adds a little bit of cool balance to the page too, I think, with those horizontal lines breaking up the hearts. If I can ever decide how far in I want this one stuck. I'm trying to create some balance over here with these little patterned hearts, making sure that nothing is too covered up. Okay, so I like that. I'm not loving the trapped white space above it, but I decide in the end that it's fine because there's little spots of trapped white space everywhere. So it just is some white space place for your eyes to rest, and I like that just fine. Half of this layout is just me moving these hearts around in circles. So now I'm going to add in my journaling. You can see me contemplating if there's anything else I want to add, but I actually really like this. So I'm going to add in my journaling here, and I decide in the end that I want to add in some Heidi Swap gold color shine. So I'm going to try first to unsuccessfully put this tag here, and then I'm going to get out my color shine, and I'm going to add some gold dots to each of the clusters of hearts. Just going through these die cuts one more time. Is there anything else I want? Nope. Forget it. Nope, you're not going to put that there. Just forget it. Okay. Now I'm going to get out my gold Heidi Shine and add just some dots to each of the clusters, being really careful about where I add them. Of course, I get one dot messed up that I end up having to cover up. The dots that come off of the stick first are always going to be the biggest ones, so make sure you have your stick situated so that wherever you want the biggest dot to be when you take it out of the bottle. There we go. So that one big dot up there on the top right, I did not want that one there. So what I end up doing is using this little heart to cover it up. I'm going to get some paper out just to sop up that gold, wipe it up as much as I can. Then I'm going to get this pink heart and I'm going to add it to the side, and then I will add a matching one to the left-hand side just to make sure that that balance is still there, and I am good to go. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. There is a link to my shop in the comment section below, so you can check out the Swoon collection, and I will see you next time. Thank you.